In Brazil, the minister and president of the Supreme Federal Court, Rosa Weber, delivers this Friday the federal constitution in the indigenous language to the National Library of Rio de Janeiro. The military junta of Niger authorized the armed forces of Burkina Faso and Mali to intervene in the case of the armed aggressions on their territory. And Angola received Brazilian President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, whose visit is expected to last at least 2 days to sign a cooperation agreement. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Razabal from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. After a meeting with the Prime Minister of Haiti, Ariel Henry, and the National Police, the Guinean mission formally concluded its first exploratory visit to the Caribbean country. The African group, led by Ambassador George Orena, held a lengthy meeting which was considered by the Haitian people to be very useful. In this way, police forces expressed their confidence that the advice of experts from various countries will make them more efficient in the fight against crime, while ratifying that they do not intend to have their functions replaced by a multinational force. For his part, the Kenyan mission only stated that the summary of the visits could be presented in a report to the Secretary of the United Nations and the Security Council of the organism. In Guatemala on Thursday, members of the civil society organization Mirador Electoral have filed a complaint for coercion to vote during election day last Sunday, August 20th. Representative of the organization Acción Ciudadana, which is part of the larger platform, documented actions that will point to vote buying in several municipalities. The reports, which also include the first electoral round of June 15, registered the delivery of vouchers and food to voters by activists of the National Unity of Hope, Vamos, and Cabal parties. Furthermore, members of the CSO have stated in the past days that results have shown an overwhelming victory of Semillas candidate Bernardo Arevalo, despite the moves at hands of opposing forces. Eddie Cox, representative of the organization, questioned the fact that this complaint have not been attended to by the judicial authorities.
As an electoral watcher, I have kept a constant observation since the beginning of the campaign, both the first and the second round. We have been able to document from Sunday, August 20, the second round, some cases that we consider there was a misconduct on the purchase of the vote. We have documented several cases of several municipalities, such as Santiago Atitlan, Chamayan, Santa Catarina Pinula, Santa Cruz Chinautla, Sena, and Alta Verapaz, Huehuetenango, San Juan de la Laguna, where they use this type of stratagems where they give vouchers, the well-known vouchers of hope that were given by the UNE party, other parties linked to the ruling party, others to the Cabo party that gave food, that gave products to the people in order to coerce the vote in favor of the UNE candidate.
On Friday, both candidates for the Ecuadorian presidency, Lisa Gonzalez and Daniel Noboa, already enjoy police protection, which will be reinforced by the president of the military. President Guillermo Lasso stated that the candidates in Ecuador's runoff election, Luisa Gonzalez and Daniel Noboa, will be protected by the armed forces. In a message posted on his social networks, the Ecuadorian president announced that he had ordered the armed forces to provide security for the presidential candidates. President Lasso also stressed that the country's democracy will emerge, strengthened from the electoral process, so it is essential that the candidates have adequate protection. During his participation in the 15th summit of the BRICS group, President Nicolás Maduro offered details about Venezuela's productive capacities. The head of state expressed Venezuela's willingness to join the BRICS group, since he considers that it will contribute to counteract the effects of the sanctions imposed by Washington. The president assured that joining the bloc will help to dismantle the system of financial and commercial domination. At the same time, he highlighted the importance of the role played by the multinational organization, since it promotes trust among the people and government of Latin America, the Caribbean, Africa, and Asia. In Brazil, the Minister and President of the Supreme Federal Court, Rosa Weber, will deliver this Friday the federal constitution in the indigenous language to the National Library of Rio de Janeiro. With the support of 15 indigenous people from the Amazon regions, the 1988 constitution was translated into the Ngatu language 35 years after its promulgation. The official, Rosa Weber, will also sign a cooperation agreement subscribed between the library and the National Council of Justice, which includes the exchange of information, documents, and technical institutional support. This was the first visit of the head of the judiciary to the National Library in a century, and the last visit being in 1923. Former U.S. President Donald Trump was arrested at a Georgia jail Thursday on racketeering and conspiracy charges and released on a $200,000 bond after having his salary mugshot taken. Trump, who is accused of colluding with 18 other defendants to overturn the 2020 election results in his southern states, spent less than 30 minutes inside Atlanta's Fulton County Jail before leaving in a motorcade for the airport. Like the other defendants in the case who have surrounded so far, the 77-year-old Trump had his mugshot taken during the booking process, a first for any serving or former U.S. president. Speaking to authorities after his arrest, Trump, the front-runner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, said it was a very sad day for America. Trump posted the mugshot on his own Truth social platform. On Friday, the country of Maui in Hawaii is suing the island's power company for negligence in the wake of severe weather conditions that led to the deadliest U.S. wildfire in a century. The lawsuit alleges the Maui Electric Company, Hawaii Electric Company, and two other companies were negligent in failing to shut down equipment despite a red alert issued by the National Weather Service. According to preliminary investigation on which the lawsuit is based, the downed power lines and night rifled such as grass and brush, causing the deadly fires. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you find news in different formats, new dates, and more. All studies coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. Digital services law and institutionalized social media and censorship across the European Union comes into force. Terry Breton, the European Commissioner for the Internal Market and Services, explains that this rule gives states the power to censor social media content that they deem to threaten their stability or even incite protests. From Friday, the Union will apply the law to all social media platforms, allowing a post, story on Instagram or Facebook to be considered a risk if it promotes hatred or violence online. Many activists said the law restricts freedom of expression.
Today, the Digital Services Act, the so-called DSA, becomes legally enforceable for very large online platforms and search engines. These systemic platforms play a very, very important role on our daily life. And it is really the time now for Europe, for us, to set our own rules. The DSA is here to protect free speech against arbitrary decisions, and at the same time, to protect our citizens and democracies against illegal content. My services and I will now be very, very rigorous to check that systemic platforms comply with the DSA. We'll be investigating and sanctioning them if not the case. We will make the online environment safer for everyone in Europe. I will keep you posted.
The Danish government presented a bill on Friday that could lead to bans on burning the Quran in public. Denmark's foreign minister said that the move sends an important political signal to the rest of the world. In light of the new law, burning the Quran would be an act punishable by fines or up to 2 years in prison. Peter Hummelgaard, Justice Minister, explained that the proposed law is intended to be written into the same regulation that currently bans the desecration of other countries' flags. According to the minister, the Danish law will prohibit the improper treatment of objects of significant religious significance to the religious community. He added that the spate of recent Quran burnings were senseless taunts aimed to incite discord and hatred. North Korea has rejected Japan's decision to non-water from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant into the sea. The foreign minister issued a statement demanding that Japan immediately reverse its decision to dump nuclear waste into the sea, saying it threatens life, the geological environment, security, and the future of humanity. Pyongyang says Japan must take full responsibility for the consequences of the decision. In Bangladesh, thousands of Rohingya refugees gather in camps to demand a safe return to Myanmar on the 6th anniversary of the violence that drove them from their homes. Bangladesh hosts nearly 1 million members of the minority who fled the 2017 military crackdown are now the subject of a genocide investigation at the International Criminal Court. Frustration is widespread over rampant lawlessness and refugee settlements, coupled with costs of international humanitarian aid and a lot of progress on both sides' repatriation deal. Several protests were organized in the sprawling patchwork of settlement near the border with Myanmar, despite monsoon downpours.
If Myanmar doesn't take us back to our homeland, then there will come a time from Myanmar that no Rohingya will remain in the camp. The way we all came here, one day we will go back in the same way. That's our plan. If they don't meet our demand, if they don't allow us our homeland and citizenship, we'll return according to our plan.
TeleSUR English launches its own videos on demand sites for you to go and revisit our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Just go to the TeleSUR corner on our website homepage and click on the video option to access our VOD platform. Now we have a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Israel, protesters condemned the country's far-right national security minister for his recent fairly televised remarks about Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. Dozens who oppose Israeli treatment of Palestinians demonstrated at a protest of the national security minister Itamar Ben-Gvir's home in the West Bank settlement. In an interview earlier this week, following two deadly Palestinian attacks on Israelis in the occupied territory, Ben-Gvir argued that his right to freedom of movement as a Jewish settler awaits the same rights for Palestinians. His statements drew widespread criticism as commentators seized on it as a proof of allegations that Israel was turning into an apartheid system that seeks to maintain Jewish hegemony from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea.
On the one hand, I was a bit shocked with his saying because it was so blunt, and he spoke his truth. But on the other hand, I was not surprised because that's the Israeli policy. We see it everywhere. We see that regulations and police enforcement, and they all enforce this kind of policy that the Jews can move wherever they want. And the Palestinians are not as free or not free at all.
The military junta of Niger authorized on Thursday the armed forces of Burkina Faso and Mali to intervene in a case of armed aggression on their territory. The foreign minister of Burkina Faso and Mali, Olivia Ruamba Abdoulaye Diop, visited Niamey, Niger's capital, where they were received by the leader of the military junta, General Abdurrahmani Tiani. According to the Nigerian Foreign Ministry, orders were signed at the meeting authorizing the defense and security forces of Burkina Faso and Mali to intervene in Niger in the event of aggression or foreign military intervention. For now, the ECOWAS countries have prioritized the diplomatic route to restore constitutional order in Egypt, but without ruling out the use of force. On Friday, Angola received Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, whose visit is expected to last at least 2 days to finalize the cooperation agreement. On his arrival in the Angolan capital on Friday, Lula da Silva was received at 4 de Fevereiro in a national airport by the African country's Foreign Minister, Tete Antonio, after attending the BRICS summit in South Africa. The Brazilian president is expected to sign 11 cooperation agreements, participate in the Angola-Brazil Economic Forum, visit Angola's main naval base, and inaugurate a new room at the Guimarães Rosa Institute, the Angola-Brazil Cultural Center. After this tight schedule, which will end on Sunday, 27 August, the Brazilian head of state will leave Angola for São Tomé and Príncipe to attend the summit of the Community of Portuguese-speaking countries. Described by analysts and various international political figures as a historic meeting, the 15th summit of the BRICS concluded this Thursday with the incorporation of 6 countries to the bloc. Let's see more in the reports of our correspondent, Juno Sonner.
The BRICS summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, ended with fundamental decisions for the world order. The 5 members of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, agreed to expand their alliance with 6 countries. We have decided to invite the Republic of Argentina, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Democratic Federal Republic of Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates to become full members of the BRICS. With membership effective on January 1st, 2024. Chinese President Xi called the expansion a historic act that responds to the need of the international community and a new beginning for the BRICS. Russian President Putin said the new members will expand the influence of BRICS in the world. The Prime Minister of India said they will strengthen the organization and humanity's belief in a multipolar world. Brazil's President Lula emphasized that enlargement demonstrated the world's desire for a new world economic order. With the 6 countries, the population living within the BRICS world is growing by more than 400 million people, more than that of the United States, and almost equal to that of the European Union. Professor Anil Suklal, South Africa Sherpa to the BRICS, describes the African perspective on enlargement.
Well, for us, we are very excited as South Africa that we have added 2 further countries from Africa, Egypt and Ethiopia. Both are highly influential countries on the African continent. So the African presence within BRICS now is strengthened. 3 African countries.
The President of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez, participated in the meeting representing the non-aligned countries of the G77 group. The group of 77 plus China and the BRICS have the responsibility and the possibility to act for a change in this unjust world order. It is not an option, it is the only alternative. Today, no one can question the BRICS' growing authority. That is why we do not hesitate to welcome its eventual enlargement, which will contribute to reinforce its relevance and representativeness. One of the main themes of the session was fundamental change in the international system. The summit declaration called for a reform of international organizations, including the United Nations Council. The UN Secretary General agreed.
Don't have terms of the permanent members that can veto, you don't have a Latin American voice, you don't have an African voice. So these countries coming together will really fight for a spot in the United Nations Security Council. We need to have a Latin American voice. And Brazil has been trying for the longest time. We need to have an African voice. And South Africa has been trying for the longest time. Maybe it's Ethiopia's chance to try. Maybe it's Egypt's time to try. Something positive. I'm very optimistic. So something positive will definitely come out of this.
And of course, the reform of the international financial system, the issue of the de-dollarization. The BRICS emphasized the need to use local currencies in international trade and financial transactions among its members. It was therefore decided to establish a working group of finance ministers and central bank presidents. Some stood stronger, others more cautious. BRICS is moving toward a new world.
Yunus Soner, Johannesburgo, TeleSUR.
We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.